Hey everyone, super excited to bring you another incredible training from our Friday Connect training series. For those of you that are new to the channel, we host these every single Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern, completely for free. Now, if you're interested in joining one of these calls, just click the link that's in the top of the description. It's also in the pinned comment. That'll take you over to our Facebook group where you can see all the upcoming calls, all the upcoming topics, and even leave some suggestions for something you want to see us cover in the future. With all that being said, let's just get right into the training.
You let everybody know a little bit about, why you got into real estate, what brought you here, and your experience in the industry been like?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So my story about getting into real estate is actually kind of funny. And I do hear this more and more from people. So it seems to be a trend, I guess. When I first started out, it was because I was having bad experiences with my own real estate agents. And I was like, this is terrible. I can do better than this. It's always one of those things we can always do better than someone else. And after so many difficult experiences, I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get my real estate license. And initially, when I first started, it was right around 2007 or 8. The worst time you could possibly want to get your real estate license. And I say that because I was a single mom of 2 kids and I was going to school for human resources. I was in a human resource job. And the market started to shift so fast and got so bad that I got my license and I got scared. I was like, I can't do this. I don't know anything about this. So I said, no, what? I'm not going to do this right now. I can't afford it, that kind of thing. Let it go, stayed in human resources. Several years later, decided, you know what? I'm going to try this again. Market was shifting yet again in a better direction. Not great at this point, but in a better direction. And I was looking at purchasing another property for myself, had a horrible experience and thought, the heck with it. So I went out, did the whole testing process again, got my license, and decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for it. And I hit the ground running. It was so fun. I don't regret it for a second. I bought my own place. I sold my own place. And that made me super, super excited. So you get that little bit of a start, and I just kept going and going from there. It wasn't easy at first. Well, actually, it almost was easy because when you're super determined, you're going to make it happen no matter what. And I busted my butt just getting my face out there, my face and my name in front of everyone that I possibly could in my counties. And it just kept going. And so now I'm struggling working between 2 jobs. And real estate really took off. So it was super fun for me.
And have you always been in West End?
I was in Ozaukee and Washington County, so West Bend, Grafton areas. I specialized in that, but I was brand new. So I wanted all the business I could get. And I went an hour away to take listings. I was initially a listing agent. I wasn't a buyer's agent. I listed first in the condo complex that I owned. And then it went out into our association and then out into the blocks. And I was advertising in papers. So people were calling me when your local papers were still a good thing. And so now I was just listing everywhere. And I was working 18-hour days. But for me, that seems like a lot, but it was so much fun because it was the challenge and it was the excitement. And so eventually, I left the HR career because I was doing so good in real estate. At my very first year, I had to hire an assistant because I couldn't do both. I literally could not do both. And I remember looking at my ground. It was a virtual experience. I didn't have a brokerage that had an office, basically trained myself kind of thing. And I'm looking at my floor and I've got 18 files down on my floor. And those next 45 days, it was 13. I don't know if I just said 18. It was 13 files in 45 days. I had all of those closings. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to handle this with this in the job? So I hired my assistant. She helped me. And that's when it went off in my head. You need to do this. My heart and soul was in real estate and not so much in HR anymore. That was just so exciting for me. And I love dealing with people on a daily basis like that. So it grew from there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, you have a great personality. I feel like sometimes we think about getting into the real estate space and we think, are we the right people? And then when you hear other people kind of telling, you're meant to be here, and I could tell from your own personality that you're at the right place. And in terms of your kind of journey through all these years, how has the real estate market impacted your business?
Currently, the only thing that it's impacted my business with is it's slowed my buyers down a little bit. And when I say that, there's two reasons. Obviously, we don't have enough houses for sale. So there's that huge competitive market out there right now. But also, where interest rates have started to rise, and I work with a lot of military and first-time home buyers. Well, not a lot of, I shouldn't say that, because the majority of my business is sellers. But the buyers that I do have, and I have 5 right now that are on hold, and it's all for the same reason. What they could afford at one point, they can't afford right now because it dropped a little bit. And there's also not enough inventory out there for my buyers to be able to find that particular property. Because I find that my buyers are extremely selective. They're not the kind of people who are like, I'll settle for that, which I appreciate, because I give them the knowledge that they need when they're going in to the process of, you want to buy this house. What is it that you want from it? Is this long-term? Is this short-term kind of thing? We work through those things. And then we stay consistent on what they're looking for to keep them on that track. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's gotten a little slower because of that. But I would honestly say my business truly hasn't been that impacted from our current shift at this point. I just don't see a significant difference.
Yeah, we had Shane Carvalho. He's one of the top producer in the California area. And when we brought him in too, and he, very similar to you, he's seen all sorts of things in his business and he manages a big team. And he said to us that my business never impacted by the market that way, is because my business will always be the way it is, and it'll keep growing because I don't allow the business to impact my business. And so I love to hear that from you as well, is that, media does a very good job of building fear in people, right? And they put these headlines and people don't really read the news, so they don't look at the numbers. But we as real estate agents, and we have to take that responsibility and educate our buyers and sellers and show them the real numbers, and that the market hasn't really that much shifted. It's not, housing crisis the way that they're labeling this, and I think it's really important that we bring down that fear with more information. So I'm glad that you said that. And kind of shifting back to kind of talking about real estate agents, I know that majority of people here are agents, so to give them kind of some more strategies so that they can win in this industry and have these trends and economic impact our business. What do you think? Let's talk a little bit about, before we get to successes, why do you think is the reason why real estate agents fail or they quit? There's a big number that they put out saying 87% of real estate agents don't make it in their 1 to 5 years. And you worked with a lot of real estate agents, so can you give us some things? Can you touch on some of it? I know there's a lot of factors, but
yeah, I'm going to, and I'll be real straightforward, just based off my experience. I've mentored agents. My VP position transitioned into a VP of agent development. So now I was working in a deeper level with agents. And there's 2 big factors that I find really impacted the newer agents. Well, even some seasoned agents who were becoming frustrated with the market that we were in, with the competition. Mm. There's not enough consistency, there's laziness, and there's a huge amount of fear. I think those are the 3 main factors. I almost forgot fear in that, because I'd have people coming to me like, I don't want to door knock. I don't want to make calls. I don't want to. That's fine. You don't have to door knock. You don't have to make calls. But now let's figure out how you're going to get in front of these people. What are you going to do? And it was that fear factor, like, I don't want to do it. Like, well, we're going to have to do something, or you're not going to be able to do the business that you want to do. And then we would consistently talk about their numbers. Where do you want to be? And if you're not going to do these things, we're never going to get you there, because you can't just be a secret agent. People have to see you. They have to know you. They have to know your knowledge. So fear was the biggest thing for a lot of people. And that consistency was also another big failure thing, because I would tell them, this is what I want you to do. Try this. They tried it once, didn't work. Let's go to next thing. Like, no, you have to try this again. It didn't work the first time. It may not work the first 6 times, but I guarantee you at some point it's going to start working, depending on how much you're spending. But my theory is, like, when I started, I had very little money. So I had to figure out strategies of how can I get my marketing out there with very little money. And so that's what I teach my newer agents, or did teach, excuse me, is how can we do these things without costing you a lot of money? And if they weren't consistent or they didn't want to do it, we didn't get anywhere. And I would ask them, what did you do this week? Nothing. Well, that's why you don't have any business. So, I mean, I think those are the 3 biggest things why they fail.
Yeah. And I think there's a lack of people understanding that you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, you're completely in charge of your business, you're in full control, and that your brokerage is this vehicle. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, is that depends on the brokerage you're with, they're going to be able to really take you, they can speed that process of giving you that knowledge, but you're still in control. The success is up to you and how you want to drive your business. So I like that you touched on that. You mentioned a couple of really good things. Now let's talk about some traits or habits of successful agents that you've seen who thrived or doing well, and you're a great example of that. And can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I will. I want to focus on a lot of like the big teams that I was involved in and their success. And I got to watch what they did. And it was a matter of getting into lead systems and taking those leads and putting them into another system where they were constantly in touch with those people. And every single day, and they were following up, and they were very, very consistent on the things that they did to continuously grow their business. And community events, getting their face out there in front of people, throwing those little parties that mean a lot to the community, whether they be big ones or little ones, because there's all kinds of things that we can do on all different levels of income. So I watched their consistency, and I was very, very impressed by the success rate on those things. Now, I'm not the kind of person, I never did the door knocking. I've never done the cold calling. But I will get on the phone and I will follow up with my clients, because my whole entire business is a referral business. And I'm like, how are you doing? How's your family? I'll see them in a store. I always keep in touch with my people. So I haven't had to cold call or do any of those things. But there are so many people who are extremely successful at it. And I guarantee that if I wanted to grow my business, that would be the first thing that I want to do, is getting on that phone. And I was just mentoring somebody the other day, just a friend who I got into real estate. And I was telling him, don't be afraid to pick up the phone. You got to introduce yourself to your friends out there and all these people and tell them who you are and what you're doing. And he's like, oh, I just don't want to, so it's that fear. You're so afraid of that rejection. But I have seen such good results in the people who are doing all of those things. And some of them aren't even really big on social media. That is one thing that EXP has really started to teach me on a whole different level, which has been amazing. Normal brokerages don't teach you this stuff. So I see some of these really good top producers doing what they do without a huge amount of social media, because of that other end of it. They're just constantly on the phone with their customers. So I think that's the biggest key to growing and keeping your business.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there, is that you can bring as many people as you can into your database, but if they don't know you exist, they don't like you, they don't know you, they can't trust you. I think I'm not sure about you, but when I have conversation with agents, we especially when we're new to it, because of fear, we find different ways to kind of escape that one-on-one conversation until they're ready to buy. But we always forget that we're in people business, and that it's our job to bring down their fear. It's our job to educate them, inform them, help them out. They're actually confused. And if anything, they kind of want to talk to you. You'll be surprised that if you tell them, hey, I'm here for you, you might be surprised the amount of people that are willing to meet you halfway and that will choose you as an agent. So and persistence, right? No doesn't mean no, it's not yet, right? It can be, and no doesn't mean no now, and that there's a potential for that relationship to grow. And I think we just make a lot of assumptions. You notice that about us? We think, oh, people already know that I'm an agent. I don't think they want to work with me. Or, oh, I don't think my family and friends would want to choose me. And we make a lot of assumptions, but they are really these internal insecurities rather than, and I think I agree with you. I get really, really comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then you'll start to see a shift in your growth in your business. But I love that. Thank you for answering all my questions. I'm going to pass it on to Carl. I know he has a bunch of questions he wants to ask you, and then we'll open it up for the audience as well.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great so far. A lot of value. But now I want to get into something a little bit more on the practical side. I know you mentioned that you do a lot of your business is actually done on the listing side. What would you say are some of the best strategies that you actually use to win more listings?
The first and foremost, it's the knowledge. When I walk in, before I even go into a listing appointment, I do all the research that I could possibly do, much like an appraiser. It's super important to know the area that the house is surrounded by, to know what are some of the things that are deterrents, what are some of the things that are going to be a plus. What have they done to the property? What did the property look like before they purchased it, if they haven't been there a long time? Because I want to know when I put my CMA together that I am going to be in a very good range of what I think they're going to sell at. And they already have an idea in their mind of this is how much I want to sell my house for because I looked on Zillow or I looked on Redfin or whatever the case is. Now I'm going to walk in and I have to counter everything that they already know. So I do a ton of research before I ever even hit their table, wherever it is that we're sitting in their house. And that knowledge is very, very impactful for people. Because like, well, I thought, and you thought, right, that was really great. However, let me show you why I feel this, or why this is the range that we're going to be able to list and sell your house for. And then I tell them the strategies that I have for whatever objection it is that they come up with. Because I do ask them, what are their expectations from me? What are their expectations from what they're going to get out of the process? So I pull them in this appointment. It's not just me talking. And I never come in just blabbing about myself. It's always about their home. My first thing is I'm going to tour their home. They're going to tell me all the beautiful things that they've done. And I want them to feel comfortable with me. So 9 times out of 10, I can walk away with a signed contract, or that day I'll send it to them and they'll sign it. So I have, I think, a very good success rate just based off of what I'm putting in to that pre-appointment and the knowledge that I walk in with for them as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's definitely really important coming across as someone that's very knowledgeable, because then obviously they can trust you that you're the expert. And I really like the point you had about, you want them to talk, let them know what's going on. It's not just you talking about how great you are. It's important to understand who they are. So that's awesome. And then I think this actually leads perfectly in the next question I had, and probably some of the stuff you just talked about. But what do you do? What are some of the strategies that you implement yourself in order to get such a large amount of repeat and referral business all the time?
Well, I'll give you a good example. I just closed on a property where I spent 2 days moving them. So they needed help. I've worked with them 4 times. And over the years, I am their go-to agent. And I don't just come in and list a house. I will go above and beyond to whatever they need. Not because I'm trying to keep that business, because I truly develop relationships with my clients. By the time we're done, we've become friends or family. And I've helped people knock down moldy walls. I've helped them move their homes. I've helped them paint. I go above and beyond. I don't walk in and tell anyone I'm going to do that. It just happens. And those kinds of things are what your clients are going to remember. And they're going to pass that on to their friends, to their family, to anybody who asks them at church or whatever things that they're doing. Oh my gosh, you're never going to guess, and therefore, the next time they need to do something, or they have a family member or friend that they want to refer to, I'm hoping that impact that I left is going to be something they're always going to remember. So that's how my business is basically all repeat business. And most of my people I've helped anywhere from 2 to 4 times so far. I think tops is like 4 transactions so far.
That's great. That's incredible. I think it's very important, just like you're talking about, just to over deliver on value. And like you said, that leaves a huge impact on people. And that's why they're going to keep coming back to you every time and refer you out to others as well. Now, last couple questions that we have for you, Pam, is just about back to, sort of the market and the conditions that we're in right now. What would you say is your best piece of advice for agents that are, right now really struggling to find some momentum and really build any traction in this tougher market than we've seen the past couple of years?
Think outside of the box. So for myself, I am now at a point where I want to start to increase a little bit of my own business. And I've been trying to pull other people in to help me. Like I'll have them help me with open houses and things like that. So I tell them, go find agents who need some help. Do your open houses, get out in the community. And I'm personally doing this myself. You want to do, if you're knowledgeable, if you're able to do it, or maybe even partner up with someone who can help you, like home buyer seminars, community events, farmers markets, sponsoring things. Get out there in front of people. You want your community to know who you are. Food reviews. Here's a very simple thing. If you can be comfortable in front of the camera when you're going out to a restaurant or a coffee place or whatever, do a quick video saying, hey, if you're new to the area or if you've never tried this place, you got to check it out. It's great. And if you can, take it one step further and go interview the person behind the register or the manager for like a minute. And then you put that out there, and now people are seeing your stuff and they're going to remember you. And the more consistent you are with these types of things, the more people are going to be drawn to you, and they may even start reaching out to you just through the content you're putting out there, and not everybody's comfortable doing something like that, but you have to, like Thermilla said, you have to get uncomfortable in order to learn to be comfortable in doing those things. And so I'm starting that kind of thing myself, and I'm pulling other people in that I know and telling them they should do the same, or at least try it if they want to, because try as many things as you possibly can. You don't want to just give up. You don't want to just sit back. You want to be out there and you want to continuously do things, to continue growing yourself and your business. And that knowledge is key. People want the expert, and you have to show them that you're the expert. And I don't believe in the fake it till you make it kind of thing. I believe you educate yourself every single day. So one of the things that I teach people too is pretend like you're listing a house every single day. Go on MLS, pick a house, sit at home and list that house. You have a buyer, pretend you have a buyer. Go to one of your family members and ask them if you can sell them a house, and you just continuously keep educating yourself so that you become the expert. Even if you don't have the business yet, you want to become the expert.
That's awesome. I really liked, where you touched on not only just being the expert on the side of the real estate and properties, but also the community, the neighborhood expert as well. And that's going to really provide a lot more value to your clients at the end of the day as well. Now, last question that we have for you, Pam. Thanks so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. Just as somebody who's been through a lot of different markets shifting in the past, what advice can you give agents today as we're going through this transitionary period with, some uncertainty and a lot of different things going on in the market right now?
I've been through the big shifts, and it's really honestly never truly impacted my business, or I've never let it impact my business, I think. So for agents out there who are listening and maybe fearing what we may be up against, or how are they going to overcome these things, I wouldn't even worry about it. You just need to go out there and keep doing it. Do whatever you possibly can to beat those objectives, whatever they may be, because our interest rates today are still fantastic. A lot of people are like, 5-6%, no, that's terrible. No, it's not. How about 8, 9, 10%? I was in that 8, 9, 10%. That was terrible, but we all lived through it. And that's what you have to be able to educate your buyers on right now. 6% is still so doable. And the prices are going down on the houses. It's not as competitive as it once was. Appraisers, first of all, are getting harder to, that whole appraisal process, they're starting to get a little smarter and a little harder. And I'll put it that way. That's a whole different topic to teach on. But we as real estate agents need to realize we have to be a little bit more reasonable in our pricing. So now we go in, and as the market is shifting, we readjust our thought process. And for new agents who have never listed a house, they haven't been in that whole flex. So that I think they have a better opportunity to get in where they should be, and they're pricing houses appropriately. So they shouldn't really fear that, because there's a lot of talk out there about that topic itself. And newer agents should not be scared of that. You need to worry about what's in front of you right now, not what was last year, and just to focus on that kind of thing, and just keep consistently moving forward with your business. I hope that makes sense, because I know that I've got a whole lot of thought in my head, but I could be on here for like 2 hours. So I don't want to overwhelm the topic, but yeah, I just feel like fear should be non-existent right now. People should not fear anything. You just do your business. Know that you are here to help people. Know that you are here to sell houses and help people buy houses. Be their expert. Educate yourself enough in the knowledge that you need right now. There's a lot of brokerages that will teach you the very basics, but you really need to dig in to how to handle a transaction from start to finish, and the bumpy roads that are going to possibly come along the way. It doesn't always happen, but right now, as we're seeing so many different things, brokerages really need to be teaching agents on how to handle those things, like the home inspections now and the appraisals and stuff like that. But my biggest advice is do not be scared. Do not back down. Get out there, keep moving. Do not be a secret agent. Find somebody to mentor you or help you that has the drive and will push if you want that mentor. I know a lot of people don't want that, but I highly recommend it, because we need somebody here pushing us out the door and telling us we can do it.
Yeah, and like calling us out on some of our own voices that tell ourselves that something isn't working. Because especially when you're new to the space and when you're hit with all these barriers and uncertainties, you'll start to tell yourself these stories that may not be real. So I think it's so important that you start off and surround yourself with people that are well versed in that. So I love that you touched on that.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something useful. If you're interested in partnering with our record-breaking organization, the Wolfpack, here at eXp Realty, completely for free, just click the link that's in the pinned comment. We can set up a time to talk, and we can see whether or not we'd be a good fit for each other. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the like button down below and make sure to subscribe. We're going to be posting videos like this on the channel every single week. And be sure to join the Facebook page. The link is in the top of the description. It's also in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.